Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Finance Minister Christopher Swinkler has acknowledged that the new municipal solid waste tax will likely spark debate about additional taxation in Barbados. He made the observation as the House of Assembly debated the municipal solid waste tax bill.
It's going to be a big argument. I presume here it will come again. Has come into pass about Barbados being overtaxed. And if you apply this tax now to businesses, they'll have to, or consumers, they'll have to transfer it to the tenants, and it will have to transfer to businesses, and it will increase the cost of business. Sir, there's some merit to all of that discourse.
However, the minister says when one considers the significant cost associated with solid waste management in Barbados, the new tax is necessary.
But what the people who make that argument will not say is that on the other side of that discourse is that there is a fundamental problem in Barbados that the government faces in relation to the management of the cost of the management of the solid waste system in Barbados. That is, I think that is a fundamental debate.
In her contribution to the debate on the municipal solid waste tax bill, opposition leader Mia Motley queried the level of taxation being imposed on Barbadians for the waste-to-energy project. She wanted to know how government would justify extracting $50 million more from Barbadians. Ms. Motley believes a different funding mechanism needs to be found. She said she could not support the tax as structured.
We do, however, believe that we can find ways, whether it is tax or user fees, to be able to help the Minister of Finance bridge the gap that he has ought and must bridge in order to meet the obligations of keeping the state afloat, particularly as it relates to garbage, solid waste, liquid waste, and all forms of waste in this country. And if the government is truly serious about this, then I will say once again that we will meet with him, but leave, just as he's left the green and levy alone, leave this solid waste tax alone.
In an earlier debate, the housing minister suggested that residents who move into new government developments should form homeowners associations. Dennis Kelman, who is also MP for St. Lucie, said it's a way they can come up with entrepreneurial ideas in order to help themselves.
I've heard in some areas people are saying that, oh, we built this and we then put on a laundromat or something like that. I'm saying that what can happen is that for them now to make a request, and that could be one of the services that they can seek permission for, and that it can be allocated so that it can be a commercial activity, and it does not necessarily have to be constructed by the NHC, but permission can be sought for things like this. We need to involve people more.
The minister was wrapping up debate on a resolution to vest a parcel of land in the National Housing Corporation for housing at White Park Road in St. Michael. That resolution was passed during the post-lunch sitting. Well, government backbencher James Paul says he supports the resolution, especially because of the location of the plot of land under consideration. He says it's an example of land in an area that is suitable for housing development. The St. Michael West Central MP thinks that more attention must be paid to the areas where developers are given permission to build.
At a time, of course, when we are talking about the whole question of food security, I think it's extremely important that we look to ensure that while areas that are quite suitable for housing development lie there are other areas which clearly would be more suitable to remain in agricultural production. And we continue sometimes to actually give in to those who seek to continually compromise agricultural land and let them have it.
In other news now, lawmen continue their investigations into the sudden death of Athelstan Ricardo Grant. The body of the 66-year-old of no fixed place of abode was discovered on Sunday evening in the St. Mary's churchyard. It was discovered by a passerby. Police are appealing for any member of Athelstan Grant's family to contact the Central Police Station at telephone number 430-7169. Lawmen have destroyed hundreds of pounds of illegal drugs. They burned the contraband, which included 4,612 pounds of cannabis, 14.72 kilograms of cocaine, and 4,465 cannabis plants. The illegal drugs were from adjudicated cases, drugs found, seizures of plants found under cultivation, and indictable matters that were sampled under the Evidence Act. Trinidad's former president, A.N.R. Robinson, died on Wednesday after a prolonged illness. He was 87. Robinson, a former prime minister, died at home after being recently released from the private St. Clair Medical Hospital, where he had been a patient since March 8th. He was shot in the leg and beaten during the attempt by members of the radical Jamaat al-Muslimin group to overthrow his government in July 1990. Now, in 2010, he suffered a convulsive seizure, fainting during a funeral, and had to be admitted to St. Clair Medical for observation. Robinson served as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago from 1986 until 1991, and then President from 1997 until 2003. As Barbados prepares to respond to St. Lucia's new 70% tax on imports, Jamaica's Prime Minister is suggesting a strengthening of trade links among Caribbean countries. Portia Simpson-Miller was speaking at the conclusion of Expo Jamaica 2014, which is billed as the region's largest trade show.
It's now time to consider accommodating more participation of our local industries, deepening intra-regional trade among our Caribbean neighbors, and building new trade networks and routes into global export markets. Every exporter, every manufacturer, and every business person in this arena accepts the fact that the days of market protectionism are long gone. We understand that the forces of globalization have changed the face of business everywhere. For Jamaica to prevail and to become more competitive, we have no choice but to fully integrate our economy into global value chains for production and delivery of goods and services around the world.
Trinidad's Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Besessar has denied reports that Tobago Development Minister Dr. Delmont Baker had resigned from her cabinet due to allegations of improper conduct. There had been widespread speculation that Dr. Baker, a member of the Tobago Organization of the People, or TOP, one of the four parties in the coalition People's Partnership government, had resigned. The report comes on the heels of the removal from cabinet of two ministers over the past 3 weeks over alleged misconduct on a domestic Caribbean Airlines flight and an assault of a woman in a car park, respectively. Reports indicate that Dr. Baker had gone to the police, where he made a formal report detailing an attempt to blackmail and extort contracts from him over certain allegations. St. Lucia has declared a water emergency in the north of the island. An acute shortage of rainfall, along with diminishing reserves in the John Compton Dam, led to the decision. In addition, the St. Lucia Meteorological Services said the northern part of the country has now officially entered a drought situation. In international news, a male sophomore went on a stabbing spree at his Pittsburgh area high school early this morning. At least 20 students at Franklin Regional Senior High School were injured, and the alleged attacker is in custody.
There are 4 different hospitals that victims have been taken to, and the one thing we are learning, Dr. Chris Kaufman said it to you, that there are life-threatening wounds at this point. Currently, there are 2 victims that are being operated on right now. One is being taken to surgery. The others are having x-rays, CAT scans, ultrasounds tests to see if there are deep internal injuries. So there is so much unknown, but here's what we do know at this point. It was about 7:15, 7:13 this morning when the first call came in. The doors had just been opened to the high school. Students were just coming in. Classes start around 7:30, 7:40. That is when this all began, 7:15, before the first class of the morning, students just arriving in their school bus, parents dropping off their kids. And we are understanding it began in the classroom or the hallway but it definitely, Carol, went some distance because the hallway into the classroom into the hallway, the stabbing continued with lacerations and puncture wounds, and at this point we are hearing 20 victims.